Welcome to the February episode of Let's Talk Tech. In this episode, we'll cover Chromebooks, two-factor authentication, digital payment apps and safe online banking, tour Village TV, and provide you with tips to avoid the cyber nightmare. First up are the tech history tidbits. Way back on February 28, 1885, the American Telephone and Telegraph Company was incorporated as the subsidiary of American Bell Telephone. Eventually, the companies would merge, and thus AT&T was born. The first color TV sets were offered for sale to the general public on February 28, 1954. And the first web browser, the World Wide Web, WWW as we all know, was introduced on February 26, 1991 by Tim Berners-Lee. Although every month I encourage safety on the internet, this month, February 9th, has been designated as Safer Internet Day for the purpose to not only create a safer internet, but also a better internet where everyone is empowered to use technology responsibly, respectfully, critically, and creatively. To learn how you can get involved, we've added the info at the bottom of the screen. And remember, internet safety measures should be thought about every day. Hi, Cheryl. Happy February, the month where love is in the air.
Hi, Debbie. I know I say this each month, but time is really flying. This is already our 6th episode.
I know. I cannot believe it. And you know, it's been so much fun and I hope informative for our audience, with more to come, of course.
Oh, absolutely. Now, Debbie, there's something I'm curious about. What does two-factor authentication mean?
Wow, that's a great question. So let me explain. When you go on website and apps on your computer or your device, we normally enter our login name and our password to access the information. However, with all the recent cybersecurity issues, many apps like Google and Facebook offer the added flexibility of this two-factor authentication, which is an extra layer. This requires a little extra time, but it's beyond your username and password. You use it to gain account access, and getting that second credential requires access to something that belongs to you, like your phone or an iPad, or even your email.
Well, does that mean it will take longer to log in? You know, extra time and steps often create a problem for some people.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that, because let me dig a little deeper for you. With two-factor authentication, if you try to change your password, a code will be sent to the second form of authentication. And again, this could be a text on your phone or an email. Once you enter that, you can set up the device as trusted. That way you don't have to do it each time. If you don't want to provide a second verification step each time you sign into your computer or your phone, check the box next to don't ask again on this computer or this device. Here's a great example, though, of why two-factor authentication is so beneficial. Recently, about 8:30 at night, I got a notification on my iPad asking me sending me a verification code and saying, if you did not request to change your password, let us know. Well, of course, my antenna went up because I'm just sitting there watching TV, not changing my password. And so I went to investigate, and I also had an email from Apple. And had I not had two-factor authentication set up on my device, someone could have essentially gone in and changed my passwords and gotten into my account. But because I had that verification code, and only that verification code only came to me, no one was able to access my account. So when something like that happens, it certainly raises your awareness.
Oh boy, it's really a good thing that you had it turned on. And I'm very glad that you can authorize your devices, because it definitely saves time. Yeah. It's hard to remember all the passwords and logins you have to use these days. But remember, only check this box on devices only you regularly use, and don't share with anyone else. Hey, Debbie, did you know that I can also log into my Apple account and see what devices are connected?
Absolutely right. If someone were to gain access, their device would show up in the list. So remove any device from that list that you don't recognize. And for those who even want more level of security, they now have multi-factor authentication, which takes it a little step further by requiring users to provide proof of 2 or more authentication factors, they call them categories, before your access is actually granted. This can include a password, a token, or even a biometric like your fingerprint. In the corporate world, this is very common. Use other verification methods if you want increased protection against phishing, can't get Google Chrome prompts if you use Chrome, and lose your phone or device.
Debbie, the question of the month is, what is a Chromebook?
Oh my goodness, well that's a great question. So simply put, a Chromebook is much like a regular laptop computer, except they run on an Android operating system called Chrome OS. You might already be familiar with Google Chrome as a browser. They use cloud-based storage rather than a built-in hard drive and offer multiple layers of security, which right now is so important, just like we've been discussing. Chromebooks don't usually come with much storage and don't require a particularly fast processor, but they are a workhorse just the same.
Now I'm curious, why would somebody choose a Chromebook over another device?
So Chromebooks are often much less expensive than a regular computer because they don't have a hard drive or some other functionality, and you can't load software. Instead, you use web-based applications. In many ways, a Chromebook is like a giant phone with the ability to add apps to them, easily access the internet and email, and more. A few of the really good things about Chromebooks are their lower cost. You don't need to be tech savvy to install, support, or update traditional software, and because they have no moving parts, they're much less prone to mechanical difficulties. And because they're cloud-based devices, they are much less vulnerable to viruses or malware. And because they're set up just like a laptop, they have built-in keyboards, usually a touchscreen, and are lightweight and very portable. You could purchase a Chromebook from just under $200 to more than $750, but that's way too high. Typically, around $300 will get you a great device. The higher cost units typically offer a smaller amount of built-in storage and a more robust processor, but I really must tell you, I don't know why more seniors just don't go for a Chromebook. They are so simple to use, and many of us are only using our computers for online activities anyway. There isn't the need anymore for a full-blown computer in most cases. The PC Education Center is actually planning a Chromebook introduction class this spring too, and they have a few in the lab just in case someone wanted to look at one in person and take a little test drive.
I love my Mac, but I can definitely see why Chromebooks are popular.
Right, that's for sure. And when we come back, we'll discuss digital payment apps and online banking. Remember the days when we went into the bank, filled out a paper deposit slip, got in line, chatted with the teller, did our banking business and left? Well, those days are fading fast as banks have less employees and ATMs and online banking seem to be the way of the day. Today I'm going to discuss ways to share funds or pay using specific apps and touch on the use of online banking as it relates to major banks, which have both brick and mortar and online options. So let's go over the most popular digital payment apps: PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, Google Pay, and Apple Pay. These are also known as contactless payment methods, and there are several others, but again, these are the most common. How to wisely choose one over the other largely depends on the kinds of transactions you want to make and the parties with which you want to exchange your funds. So first you should determine what you want to do with the app and then research which of them may be the most appropriate. One of the most recognizable is PayPal, and over the years they've grown and changed quite a bit. When you shop online, many retailers offer an option on the pay screen to choose PayPal along with other credit cards. It has become the leading choice for transactions online due to the extra layer of security that it offers. Its advantages include the ability to tie in multiple bank accounts and credit cards within your actual PayPal account, and PayPal can be used globally. Venmo is more geared to what is known as peer-to-peer transactions. For instance, personal transactions with people you know, such as when you go out to a restaurant and you want to split the bill with your friends. That's a particularly well-suited to something like Venmo. I also just had a handyman come and do some work in my condo, and I paid him instantly using Venmo, which was so much easier than going out and getting my checkbook and writing a check, and it just took 20 seconds. So Zelle is a payment network, and that's launched as a mobile banking feature by banks, and it works also as a peer-to-peer system. After you enroll with your bank, it moves money directly between your linked bank accounts. And although a bank doesn't typically charge a fee to use it, your bank could charge you, so make sure you check that out. But most of the major banks do not charge for the use of Zelle. Google Pay is now known as Google Wallet, and it is Google's alternative to PayPal. It allows users to transfer money between their bank account and a credit or debit card and their Google Wallet balance, and send it to other Google Wallet users. Most transactions on Google Wallet don't cost fees, but Google Wallet can't be used to pay for items either in online or real life unless you have a separate Google Wallet card. That card acts like a MasterCard or a debit card, but Google Wallet is only available in the US. If you use Google Chrome, you have an option to tie a credit card into Google Pay, which allows you to quickly pay online, and you'll see it as a pop-up often when you see it at the top of your screen. Apple Pay and Apple Pay Cash. So Apple has combined the handling of payments with what looks like a merger of PayPal and Venmo. Apple Pay is a mobile payment and digital wallet service that allows users to make payments in person, in an iOS app, and on the web using Safari. Apple Pay is Apple's system for making purchases at many major retailers and through in-app purchases. With Apple Pay, you'll be able to hold your iPhone up to a credit card terminal, then touch your ID, Apple's fingerprint tech, to make a purchase. You can also use your iWatch. You'll also be able to buy stuff within apps, such as using the Target app, or just by using Touch ID at the appropriate time during checkout. It's only supported, though, on an iPhone, Apple Watch, iPad, and Mac. Although I've had access to this for years, it hasn't been something I pursued, but it is very easy to use. So much like going to Starbucks and waving your phone under the scanner, it does allow you to easily pay without even opening your wallet. So now let's talk about online banking with your bank. Is this something you currently do or might be curious about? If you haven't done this yet, no worries. It took me many years to embrace online banking, but it became so convenient. I also decided to use the iPad app recently on my bank once the pandemic hit, and I've never looked back. However, I follow one very simple rule. I don't log into my online bank unless I am using my home network. Being an alert consumer on the front end is so important. You need to make sure you change your password regularly and choose strong and unique passwords. Enable that two-factor authentication I talked about earlier if your bank offers it. Don't save your login and password to your computer, even if your browser suggests it. And steer clear of public computers or Wi-Fi when banking online. Check your bank statement regularly. Sign up for banking alerts for any transactions. Use a licensed antivirus software on your computer. Be very wary of phishing scams, especially through the internet and email, and disconnect your internet when you're not using it. Type your bank name into the URL rather than just using a quick link. But like always in the show, beware of scams. And sadly, I want to make you aware of a recent scam involving Zelle. The scam starts with the victim receiving a text message from a number claiming to be the bank's fraud department. The text will mention a suspicious payment through Zelle and ask the recipient to verify the transfer. Once the victim responds, police say they get a call from the scammer claiming to be from their bank. The fraudster asks the victim to confirm their identity by verifying their Zelle username. Then they notify the victim that they will be receiving a one-time code to their phone and a notification from Zelle about the transfer. Those notifications are legitimately from Zelle and the bank, but the police say the scammer will ask the victim to share that code. Once they have the code, nothing stands between the fraudster and the victim's money. This is a fairly sophisticated and has duped many people, so a word of warning I can offer you here is to double verify with your bank before sharing any code. Also, if you're not a regular Zelle user, this should arouse your suspicion immediately. And in general, here's some great ways to be able to bank online safely. Become familiar with your peer-to-peer payment apps policies related to fraud protection. Learn how to use your institution's mobile app and disable features you do not intend to use. And ask someone at your financial institution for help if you need it. If you learn to recognize your financial institution's fraud notifications and what you should do if you receive one, that will help tremendously. Please read your text message closely and ignore those from institutions where you don't have accounts or that do not make any sense. If you receive a telephone call from someone claiming to be your financial institution, hang up and call them back at a number you know is valid. You can find the number online or often in the mobile app itself, or ask at your bank. Login information such as usernames, passwords, and any one-time codes or other authentication information is confidential and should never be shared with anyone, including anyone from your financial institution. No one from your bank will ever ask you for your login name and password. And up next, join us while we tour the Village TV studio. Do you watch This Day or the board meetings? How about yoga, a movie, or the show Tales from the Woods? Where does that come from? On the third floor of the community center is this buzzing hub of activity. From a studio to production equipment, a small group of hardworking folks are working every day to provide you with education, to entertainment, to exercise. So, by the magic of TV, let's take a short trip and look around. So here we are in the Village TV studio where all the magic happens. Here's the desk where This Day is filmed, and Lisa's usually sitting right here, but instead today I'm here with Paul Ortiz, who is the general manager of broadband services.
Right, yeah, we've been producing the show here ever since we came into the community center in about 2002. And we've had actually 3 hosts since we've been in this building. Rob Merritt was a longtime host on our program, and back then it was called Leisure World Today. Okay. And then we had Ken Goldenberg for a number of years, and then of course now Lisa for the last couple of years too. So every morning we do a live show, and we have guests from the community and through the surrounding communities. So it's one of our most popular shows. We call it our flagship show.
So there's a lot of other programs, though, besides This Day. Obviously, that's something that everybody here kind of knows about, but there's a lot of other things you do here.
Oh, sure. You know, usually, you know, obviously it's been a little slower due to COVID, but, you know, things are starting to pick up again. But just across the way here, we'll produce the Trading Post, and we just started producing that show about a month or so ago, and currently we're airing it on Mondays and Wednesdays. But we used to air it Monday through Friday, so you know it was pretty busy here in the morning. We also produce other shows like Espanol, and we've also helped with Tales from the Woods and things like that in our studio, because we have a large green background, of course, that many people have seen probably doing the weather on the networks, and it's very similar to what we have. And then we also have a very nice little talk show set. That's where we shoot Your Health, and we'll also do some other segments for This Day on that set as well. So we're pretty, considering how small this studio is, we have 3 viable sets that we can do, you know, a variety of different things and shows with.
Well, I know when I was dreaming of this role, I was thinking how I would sit in those chairs, but we ended up going a little bit of a different direction, but that's okay. But I just, again, you know, I say this often on the show when I go tour different things in the village, how people just are just not aware of what we have to offer here. Yeah. And this studio is just not as big as ABC or NBC,
no.
but nevertheless, we have the equipment. We
Right.
have the same types of things as you mentioned, the green screen. But you know, we have a full production area that runs 24/7.
Right. Just across the window here, we have our control room, and that's where the brains of the operation really is. We built it so that on one side we could actually work in the studio, and on the other side we could control the cameras in the boardroom. So we did that for many years. Well, now we have cameras at Clubhouse 5 and at Clubhouse 3, so we can actually work from those locations remotely here and still produce shows here in the studio and get things done. So, you know, the control room is where we have our switcher, which everybody, that's the buttons, real flashy kind of thing.
Looks all cool.
Our
You'll
mixer,
see it.
yeah, and then of course our video server is there too. We used to have tape decks everywhere. Big pieces of machinery, and then you know, luckily we got into video server, and that's been how we schedule all our programming. And we produce about a little over 2,000 minutes a month in really local origination programming. And I think we're probably the busiest and the most viable, you know, local origination station. You know, I live in Mission Viejo. I know Mission Viejo isn't producing shows for my community and my HOA on a monthly basis like we're doing here. So, you know, we're pretty proud of how things have been going here, and we keep pretty busy. We have also down the hall, we just have our editing stations where everybody works in their offices. And then we have our lobby where we take walk-ins and handle any of our traffic.
Right, right. And also the message board is produced, you know, for that comes on every time there isn't an actual program. And, you know, the movies that we're able to get, again, we do have something that, like you just said, you don't have it where you live. And I always look forward to watching Village television when I'm here, and I always like to see what's on. And you know, I know that movies, you know, we're popular, and you don't have to pay for them.
Right. Well, movies, you know, we only used to air movies on Friday, and then all of a sudden it became Monday and Friday because it became so popular.
Okay.
And then during COVID, we thought, well, you know what, we really need to, you know, bring some more entertainment to the community. Now we air movies on Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays.
Wow.
So that's really increased, you know, our ability to show certain movies. And part of the problem was with COVID, obviously, all the production and all the movie houses basically shut down, you know, or halted production. And we have to work through a distributor. So a lot of people say, well, why don't you just get that movie? Well, I just got it at Redbox. Why can't you air it? You have to pay broadcast rights for all of these movies, and you have to work through a distributor, or else you get in a lot of trouble through the FCC.
You can't just pirate that movie and throw it on the thing. You know, we don't. It's not like you can go down and get the latest Spider-Man and throw it on our television. Sorry, people.
Right. So we're fortunate, and we've worked with a distributor for nearly 40 years now. So we're able to get a lot of new releases when they're available. So, you know, we do work with them closely. Mark Weiss actually is in contact with them almost daily because we're always trying to get new releases. And so now we're bringing you 3 movies a week, and all the other programming that we provide as well. So, you know, we do know the movies are very popular. And we've always asked people, you know, we say, hey, can they suggest movies? Of course, you can always suggest movies. All you have to do is email us at lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com, and if there's a particular movie that we can obtain rights to, we'll try and include it with our lineup.
That's a great idea too. And while you mentioned the email address, which we'll put up on the screen, if you have any really nice pictures, they like to show pictures on this day, so send them in.
Yeah, plus we give you photo credits. So
that's right, you get your name right up there on the screen.
Tell your family that you're now on television and show your trip to Sonoma or something like that.
Yeah, so, and we're always looking for really good shots for sure. But I really appreciate that we have this amenity here. I think that people, you know, again, we just have talked about it and a lot, but this is great that we do this for our community, and you know, we're always interested in everybody's comments and suggestions, so please share them, and I really thank you. And
sure, I just wanted to mention before you wrap it up was that, you know, speaking of that, you know, we're one of the few amenities that's on 24/7.
That's true.
The cable operation and of course Village Television and security are really the only things that continue to run is for your amenities. Your golf course is not open like that. Your tennis centers are not open like that. So, you know, it's a valuable asset. And even like today, when the community center was closed due to COVID, and we told that resident services would not be available to either email them or phone them. You know, we said that right away, and we're able to do that. You know, you have the newspaper and you have us.
Yep.
And well, now we have the website, so everybody's
Right.
on that as well.
Right.
But it's a great way to kind of reach out to our community.
Yeah, it sure is, and you know, we can pop something up pretty quickly, and people can tune in and do it. I know a lot of people, you know, are changing over to like streaming and stuff, but you can get Village Television anytime, 24/7.
Right.
So thank you so much again, Paul, for joining me today, and this is a great place. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
So let's talk about avoiding the cyber nightmare. We talk about safety all the time here. In today's Internet of Everything world, we are more connected to our device than ever before, which means more opportunity for cyber security attackers to cause a nightmare for you. You hear about it all the time on the news, but do you know what you can do? In order to avoid these cyber nightmares, treat yourself to these best security practices. Avoid pop-ups, unknown emails, and links. Beware of phishing. Phishers try to trick you into clicking on a link that may result in a security breach. Phishers prey in hopes that you'll open pop-up windows or other malicious links that could contain viruses and malware. It's important to be cautious of these links and attachments in emails from senders you don't recognize. Use strong passwords. Strong, complex passwords help stop cyber criminals from accessing any information. If a cyber criminal figures out your password, it could give them access to wreak havoc in your life. Passwords should be at least 8 characters long and include numbers, symbols, uppercase and lowercase letters. Even better is using a passphrase. Always connect to secure Wi-Fi. Connecting to public Wi-Fi networks can be extremely risky and make your data vulnerable to being intercepted by cyber criminals. Coffee shops are extremely vulnerable. If you are at an office and they offer you the use of a free Wi-Fi, don't connect unless it's password protected and they give you the password first. And then, better not to do it unless you absolutely have to. Embrace security education and training. Not only here on my show, but online there are many opportunities for learning about being a good digital citizen and practicing digital safety. Take classes if they're offered and read about digital citizenship and internet safety. Take a few extra minutes to ask yourself, am I using the internet safely? Well, we've come to the end of our February episode already. It always makes me sad to say goodbye. So next month, we're going to talk about what's the deal with 5G, artificial intelligence, the future of technology, and what kind of tech can really improve your life, and where can you find help with using your technology. And as I always say, remember to be kind when posting online. Don't believe everything you read on social media, and change your passwords. My sincerest appreciation for joining me today. And please don't forget to send us your comments, your questions, and tell your friends to watch us on Village TV or via our YouTube channel. Have a great day, and thank you again for joining me.